Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday live stream. So these are the type of live streams that I love to do. And the reason is because it's one of those days when things are just lining up. And it's actually a very positive day and a very bullish day. Now, yesterday, of course, a little bit of turbulence, right? We had Binance step down. Looks like the Department of Justice came in and said, look, you're guilty of anti-money laws, and we're going to do a plea deal, and it's going to cost you. And we were expecting some massive turmoil. But just as a recap, I know everybody knows these things because they just can't get enough of this information. This is what actually happened. So, of course, CZ, Binance stepped down. CZ is going to have to pay $50 million, which is not a bad deal considering the fact that he is, I believe his net worth is over $10 billion. So drop in the bucket. This is the price of doing business, and here we go. So the Binance broke U.S. anti-money laundering and sanction laws, failed to report more than 100,000 suspicious transactions with organizations. And I'm not here to defend or to say that's, something that just goes above and beyond the Department of Justice. These are the real allegations. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not like these centralized exchanges are doing, the most perfect work of all time. They have moved the crypto market forward, but there was a cost to do that, and this is that cost. The exchange also never reported transactions with websites avoided selling child abuse materials, one of the largest recipients of ransomware, they said. So again, take that with a grain of salt. Could be true, could not be true. It could be something that they're talking about. Also, I will remind everybody that Senator Elizabeth Warren just recently talked about in a House hearing committee where there was nothing but of funding for Hamas, the terrorist group, and it was all done by crypto and digital assets, and it is the most evil thing of all time. When in reality, we know that cash is king for cartel and, of course, insurrectionists. So take that with a grain of salt. Binance made it easy for criminals to move their stolen funds and illicit proceeds on exchanges. They did more than just fail to comply with federal law. It pretended to comply. All right, great. So that's what we got. Binance is going to pay $1.81 billion within 15 months and a further $2.51 billion forfeiture as part of the deal, prosecutor said. And then Janet Yellen actually came out and said this is the largest fine that they've ever put out in U.S. history. So, hey, we're making records all over the place. Fantastic. So we heard about this. CZ came in and said, yes, this is true. I'm going to step down. And we were expecting some major volatility. And, of course, I don't need to tell you this, but didn't really do too much for the market in general. And this, I have to tell you, if this didn't crash the market for the allegations that were going on and for the CEO to step down and for the provisions that are going to come in, I don't know what's going to crash it because it's looking pretty damn good. And in 24 hours, Bitcoin went down a paltry 1.5%. And at one point, I think it was at, I want to say 37.5, went down to 35.5. So it was like a $2,000 difference. Ethereum's actually up in 24 hours, up 2%. Of course, BNB is down 12%. Not surprising. What is not surprising either is that the other crypto tokens for different exchanges are also up because they're taking advantage of the situation. That's the market, baby. Solana's up. Solana's down, 12% for the week, but it had a massive run. Pullbacks are healthy, not a big deal. 12%. If you're in traditional finance, you might have soiled yourself, but 12% is a Wednesday here in crypto. Welcome to digital assets. Avalanche is down, Polygon, everything's down except for, like I said, Uniswap. Now that Binance is out of the way, people are like, maybe we should look into decentralized exchanges. I'm telling you right now, Uniswap is great, but there's better DEXs out there by far. I just used Orca today. Well, this is like my second time using Orca. It's built on Solana. Man, super fast, super easy, super slick. OKB up 1.3% and so on and so forth. Kronos, crypto.com token is up too, which is not surprising. Thorchain, 8% as well. Immutable X gaming token up 3%, 4% for Aave. Rocket Pool, I guess so. Celestia, which is what Crypto City has been talking about for quite some time, up 0.5 percentage point. And then down we go, Kava. And look at this one. Pyth is up almost 39% in 7 days. In the last, is this an hour? An hour, it's up 13%. Good news. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But that's all we have as far as the market. This makes me extremely bullish because I could have sworn that we would have seen a lot more volatility, but we did not. And again, if that's not going to do it, what is? And there was different sentiment across the cryptoverse. from everybody thanking CZ, Dan Moorhead. You had Tom Crown actually, putting in and saying, hey, look, you did an amazing job. And a lot of people said it like, this is, thanks so much for doing what you did. This is fantastic. But then you had some other ones like Corey from Swan Bitcoin and also from Bob Lucas, just put another video. I highly recommend you watch it. And he said, now that the final crypto scammer of the 2018-22 cycle is prosecuted, it's time to legitimize the scamming. And there is no shortage of opinions here in crypto world, but that's what it is. But speaking of opinions that I think has to be fleshed out, Bitcoin ETF, because one of the big problems with this spot ETF is we all know it's Gary Gensler. And one of his big problems from what he says is manipulation. And a lot of people had said for quite some time that if Binance was the largest centralized exchange in the world, it is 4 times the volume of its closest 4 competitors. Or it's more volume than 4 of its competitors globally. Then they're not going to allow it because there's too much manipulation that can actually be done with the price. True, you cannot manipulate Bitcoin itself. Mutable ledger, massive amount of nodes out there, massive amount of miners to actually work and secure the network. You can't do it that way, but you can manipulate the price. And that's what Gary Gensler supposedly has been an issue with. Now, with this new piece coming out from the DOJ, maybe the ETF will be approved. So this is from John Reed Stark. And who is John Reed Stark? He is from John Reed Stark Consulting, Duke University. Great. But he's a former chief SEC Office of Internet Enforcement. And let me tell you, he loves him some SEC. Nothing wrong with that. I love my ex-employers too. But he said right here, he goes, hot off the presses unsealed memorandum regarding plea proceedings of Binance and CZ, instituting a mammoth set of conditions and requirements. And I read through the whole thing. I linked in the description. You can check it out. It's like, 20 pages or something like that. But the one that really sticks out to me was number 5. Defendant Binance will appoint an independent compliance monitor for a period of 3 years to ensure Binance's compliance with the terms of the plea agreement and report to the government. That's the U.S. government. And who do you think he's going to report to? He's going to report to the CFTC, or the DOJ, and of course the SEC can listen as well, and of course get all their documentation, which would satisfy, I think, what Gary's big problem was, which was the largest centralized exchange could be used to manipulate the price. And now that America has its grubby little fingers into it, maybe that's not the case. So that, to me, I had to sit back and go, man, maybe the thesis that I have that the ETF will not be approved, and it could actually very well not be be approved because of this little piece right here. And also on the same day, this is from Bitcoin News, definitely a follow, Bitcoin News.com over on X or Twitter. And here we are. Hester Pierce, excuse me, one of the commissioners, comes out again and says, hey, because of what's happening behind the scenes, there's no reason for us to stand in the way of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Let me say it again. Hester Pierce, one of the commissioners of the SEC, one of the 5, says there's no reason for us to stand in the way of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, before everybody gets super excited, she said this the whole time. And I just want to put it in there just to reiterate that, even though we look at the SEC as like some evil empire that's screwing everything up, some of the things they're doing is actually on the level. And that's not a very popular opinion, but watch the video yesterday, I'll explain myself. But on this piece right here, Hester Pierce has never wavered from that stance. She says if you're going to approve a futures ETF, there's no reason why you shouldn't approve a spot Bitcoin ETF because it's the same pricing. And of course, you want to manipulate that. You can manipulate a futures ETF. You can manipulate a spot. It doesn't really matter. And this is one of those things that people say, well, now that of course we have this, then the spot ETF is going to happen. I think I am more inclined to say that it actually will, but there's this little voice in my head. And I've been wrong on this channel. I think everybody knows that. Nobody's perfect, especially me. Ask my wife. That joke never fails. And there's things like this. Who is Gary working for? Is Gary in the pocket of BlackRock and the money mongers that are out there and the asset managers that control this planet? Or is he in the pocket of, say, the White House and different senators? This is from Caitlin Long, and she posted this. from Custodia Bank, Wall Street veteran, and everybody knows her. She's a big Bitcoin believer. And she says that, I didn't know this was actually a thing, but apparently it is. Truth revealed, Senator Elizabeth Warren, orchestration of Operation Choke Point 2.0, which if you're not familiar with that, that's where they try to shut down the banks that are dealing with the different centralized exchanges for crypto and digital assets to allow people to have it as an on and off ramp and shut them down. They did a beautiful job not more than 6 months ago. But she says, through her control over the Biden administration's financial services appointee is really about rolling out a U.S. CBDC. I had no idea she was that big into CBDCs. This has been an open secret in D.C. since January, but it's not a secret anymore. This is a minute long. It's important that you listen to this so you understand where Elizabeth Warren is coming from, where a lot of people, I think, are coming from that are in Congress right now, because she's a bullhorn, unfortunately. And that's just how it is. So just take a listen to this. You make the decision. Take a listen.
What that banks do wrong, if you think we could improve that in a digital world, the answer is sure you could. But in that case, let's do a central bank digital currency.
Are you there?
Oh, for a central bank digital currency? Yeah. Yes. I think it's time for us to move
essentially, because the thing is, when you look at every piece of paper currency we issue, not with coins, but every paper currency has its own identity. Mm-hmm. So essentially, we're prepared for the blockchain now with currency. Should that be how we build this?
So I think of it as, again, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Mm-hmm. And if the problem you're trying to solve is fast, almost frictionless ability to send money across the country, do it rapidly, send it around the world, be able to send it to your cousins in Argentina. If that's what you're trying to solve, a central bank digital currency does that. And you don't really need a stable coin for that. You've already got a dollar denominated. You don't really need a Bitcoin to be able to do that. So then the question becomes, so what is it that the Bitcoin, what problem is it solving for? And now we get into a very different space.
The problem we're trying to solve is you. That's the thing. So when you hear things like this from Senator Elizabeth Warren, and you're going to hear this from other congressmen and women, senators, they're going to say the same thing, like maybe we should do a CBDC, because that's the next big thing. That's what's going to push us over. That's them not understanding the whole system of what Bitcoin is here for. Bitcoin is here, and digital assets, we'll just stay with Bitcoin and make it simple right now, is to get out of the system. The way and the manner in which inflation actually happens is the private tax that they do, printed by the U.S. Treasury, comes out to us, and it dilutes the value of the dollar over time. And that's what we're trying to get out of. That's the evil that she's talking about. But she thinks that a CBDC, which really is really no different than, it's essentially digital dollar. It's the same thing going over again in zeros and ones on a distributed ledger, which I don't think is going to be very distributed. So again, when you take a look at this is just one of those, it's just, first of all, you can say it's education, but it's not education. I think Elizabeth Warren knows exactly what she's talking about. And I think she knew exactly what she was talking about when she stood up on that congressional hill and she talked about how that Bitcoin and digital assets were used to fund Hamas and terrorist attacks. And that is why we need to shut it down. When in actuality, when all the experts came out and said, no, they've been using banks like your buddies over at JP. Not that she's a big banker, she's not. But they've been using banks, and cash is king if you're the cartel and you're a terrorist. So these types of things are the things that stop me by saying, you know what, as far as like a spot Bitcoin ETF, it looks very positive. Could actually happen. It's a lot more assured that it could actually happen if we're able to monitor, I'm a part of the government, to monitor Binance. But will it actually happen? Not when you have something like that. And I think that's one of the things. If they can get over that last boss, I think we'll see a Bitcoin ETF. And let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And then to finish up, oracles and Chainlink. Well, not this oracle, this oracle. This is called Pyth, Pyth.network. And I linked it in the description. And the only reason I was interested in this actually is because there was a great video from Paul Barone Network, and he put out about Solana airdrops. I'm like, ooh, airdrops, the fastest way to get scammed. Because let's be honest, when you do airdrops, everybody's clicking the wrong link and they're opening up their hot wallet and they're getting screwed over, so whatever else. But I just wanted to watch it because kind of interested in the space. And it was pretty interesting what they were doing as far as like an Oracle, how they were actually getting into these different chains. And it's built on Solana, which everybody seems to love right now, even though everybody hated it when it was $9, but whatever. And it's just a multi-chain asset that can be used on BNB, Optimism, Ethereum, Arbitrum, you name it. That's the Oracle for everybody. And we'll see how it goes. So now I was just interested in like, oh, this is awesome, an airdrop. Let me just check it out. And here was the criteria, because I'm like, I always feel like oracles, you need an oracle. You need an oracle. What it does is it pulls outside data, price action, any kind of data that you need in the real world into the blockchain. The blockchain can't just pull stuff out of the air. It needs help. It needs an oracle, and Chainlink is why I've been buying it for the last, since I got into crypto, actually in 2018, 2019 when I started. And I've always liked this one. I always said, well, this is the big one. But now with Pyth out there, and again, watch the video from Paul, he does a great job. It's making up ground. It's making up ground fast. So here's what's happening. An airdrop program, we know in Web3, over 90,000 wallets will be eligible to receive Pyth tokens. Jeez, I sound like Janet Yellen. Pyth tokens based on their on-chain activity across 27 blockchains and 200 decentralized applications. Update, November 16th, the claim process for Pyth Network retrospective airdrops will open on Monday, November 20th. That was just 2 days ago. And remain open to eligible participants until February 18, 2024. Well, that's awesome, Rob. So how does this work out? Well, here's the criteria. In DeFi, community member, blah, blah, blah. I linked this in the description so you can check it out. And I was like, hey, I'm going to check this out because this is the official link from Pyth.network from their official website. Let me see what's going on. Wah, wah. Sorry, loser American. You're unavailable for legal reasons. The site's not available for Congo, Korea. I can't even pronounce that. Luhansk People's Republic, China, Ukraine. Oh, okay. Cuba, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, South Syria, the USA, the UK, Yemen, Zimbabwe, and da-da-da. So I can't check it. And I'm not going to tell you to use a VPN because that is illegal and you should not do that. VPNs are dangerous. But if you want to use one, there's a link in the description. Anyhow, you should not do that to check for your airdrops. Just saying. And then Pyth, just so you know, I thought it was pretty interesting because they're doing the airdrop and it just came out. It just like 20th November. That was Monday when they did the airdrop. That was because you can't go back anymore. So it started out at 30 cents and right now it's 43 cents. So just so you know, that might be something to look into. Now, the thing that will put a monkey wrench in, the total supply is 10 billion. Not a big deal, you know, but Chainlink is like 580 million. But then again, Cardano is like 45 billion. So just that will affect the price, just so everybody knows. But this is a very risky play. It is an altcoin. But I just thought it was very interesting. I'm like, oh, another oracle that's out there. Fantastic. So take that as you see fit. Now, me personally, I will not lead you astray. I bought some today. And you know how I bought it? Because I couldn't use an airdrop. I use Orca. And of course, you're like, what the hell is that? Orca, and every one of these cryptos that are out there, anyone that you want to get into, of course, you have to do your own research as much as you possibly can. Not that you're going to get it right every time. That's the thing with investing. Remember, I put rules for a reason underneath me. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. It's all gone, right? Everything is scam until proven otherwise. Don't leave things on exchanges, da-da-da. So here, if I'm over on CoinGecko, if I click on markets, I can see all the different centralized and decentralized exchanges that this is available on. There's this one called Orca. Orca is run on Solana. I used it, and I got to tell you, super impressed. And I tweeted that out very fast, very easy. The fees were nominal, I mean, next to nothing, which is a huge difference between that and, say, using like a Uniswap for the Ethereum gas fees. I mean, just unbelievable. And of course, I had to transfer some Solana into my Phantom wallet because it integrates with my Phantom wallet, which is Solana wallet. And it took less than 10 seconds to transfer it over. Now, Ethereum, you never know. And it's going to cost, I'll just say this, it's very simple. So check out Pyth. I bought some. So if you think, oh, Rob's just a nice guy talking about some crypto. No, Rob owns it and Rob is biased. All right. And that's it. So for that piece, and then also a little bit of jarring news to wake everybody up and remind everybody of this. Justin Sun, founder of Tron, put out a tweet about 4 hours ago and said HTX and Heco cross-chain bridge underwent a hacker attack. HTX will fully compensate for HTX's hot wallet losses. So another exchange goes down. Well, excuse me, it doesn't go down, just their hot wallet. But this is the second one that he's been involved in where it's had a hack. Deposits and withdrawals temporarily suspended. All funds in HTX are secure, and the community can rest assured we are investigating the specific reasons for the hacker. And I think, let me see here. Once we complete the investigation and identify the cause, we will resume services. Now, to be fair, Justin Sun did say that he is going to personally, not personally, but the business itself is going to refund everybody if there's any loss of funds. But he said that before on the other centralized exchange that he was a part of. I forgot the name of it. Correct me in the comment section. But again, these are the things that worry me. And it doesn't worry me because I got it figured out, I think. I made these rules, remember, for a reason. See that third rule number 3. No exchanges. You have to use the exchanges to be an off and an on ramp, right? But you don't have to leave it there. You paid the fees, now take it off. So did we not learn a lesson from Mt. Gox? I know I didn't because I put stuff on Voyager and Celsius. Did we not learn our lesson from Voyager and Celsius and FTX and BlockFi? Well, apparently not, and that's just how it is. I understand some people have to leave crypto on the exchanges because they're trading, they're doing all the things they're doing, but you don't have to leave it on there. You can take it off, put it in cold storage wallet. I've made plenty of videos. There's a great website called Dan Teaches Crypto. It shows you how to do it for free. So I just want you to be safe. That's it. I don't want to keep hearing these stories about, oh, I got screwed over and I left it all on the exchange. Why did anybody tell me? I don't have to. 90% of you are sick of hearing this message, but the 10%, I think you need to hear this. And the reason is because if you're going to work this hard, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, right? In that vein, people will say, well, what's a good cold storage wallet? I use this one. I use Tangem. I use Ledger, and I use EliPal because I'm going to diversify in my portfolio. I'm going to diversify my cold storage wallets, right? But so far, since this one was created, Tangem in 2018, no hacks. Ledger, no hacks. EliPal, no hacks. Now, to be fair, Ledger did have personal data hacks, but that's what every website has essentially. But there's been no hacks of your crypto. So people have been asking me like, Rob, I only got so much money. How do I do this? Well, Tangem itself, let me show you. For a 3-card set, it's $62. For 2 cards, it's under $50. And I did a video, links in the description. I show you how to set it up. And then these Tangem wallets now, the ones that I have this, Jesus Christmas. I have this one right here, which is the old version. But the ones that you're going to get are these new versions right here. I got the new set. And what those do, those allow you to either put the private keys within the card itself or the private keys that you can generate a mnemonic phrase and write down on a piece of paper. It's whatever you want to do now. It's whatever you want to do. It gives you both options. I personally have them all in the cards, and that's it. But as a comparison, just so you know, if you're looking for a cold storage wallet, this is the Black Friday offer for Ledger. I do not have a link to Ledger, but it's shop.ledger.com. The price is $79 for the old version, $150 for the newer version, and then the Nano Duo is $228, where you get a twofer. So those are the price differences. I use both or all 3 with the EliPal. And to make things crystal clear, Tangem is not a sponsor of my show. They are not. They didn't pay me to say this. However, that's an affiliate link. If you can't stand using affiliate links, you get 10% off. Just go to Tangem. What is it? Tangem.com. And hopefully you go to the right place. But if you want to support that, there it is right there. And that's it for today. So look, that's it for today in the news and what's going on. I think it's super bullish. I mean, I haven't been this bullish in quite some time. And this, I didn't think we were going to get here until we got into Bitcoin halving territory. And we're only like 4.5 months away. So I think this is pretty good timing. We'll see how everything works out with macro, but that's it for the news. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. as things accelerate, and they will accelerate very quickly, it's important that you stay up to date. I don't care if it's me or somebody else, just subscribe to somebody, watch the news, see what's happening, so you can make the best decision for you and your family. That's it.